Alright guys, welcome to Rome Reviews. I'm Rome and this is the Vivo X Fold 3 Pro, and I just want to do a long-term review on it since I've had it for a few months now and just share some opinions and some thoughts on it. So, jumping right into it, you have this beautiful, I want to say 8-inch screen or close to it. I believe it's 8-inch though. This inner display is easily, no. Yeah, my no, I was about to say easily. It's not easily. This is gonna tie for about my first place slot on this phone. Is my favorite thing about it. This inner display is crazy. The crease. I know people talk about the crease, but the crease is almost non-existent when you're looking at this phone. Even when you look from angles, certain angles and things like that, it's just non-existent almost. Um, Even after 3 months. And when I'm using the phone and typing on it and swiping on screen, you could barely even feel it still. I mean, you feel it just a little bit, but I mean, it's not bad at all. Um, the the other thing that the inner screen ties with is the camera. The camera on this foldable, even though it's a foldable, is so good. And I'll talk a little bit more about that a little bit later. And then what falls to the second slot, just because the inner display is so good, I don't use the outer display a ton, just for quick things. Just scrolling through social media real quick. If I see somebody message me or tag me in something, I just look at it real quick and watch the Instagram video or whatever. So the outer display is really good as well. Now I will say that the screen protector that comes with the phone, it has taken a beating. It scratches easily. I don't think it will show up on camera that well, but it does scratch easily. So I would recommend, if you can, if you know how, AliExpress, different websites like that, maybe even Amazon. I haven't tried Amazon yet for this phone, but I would say see if you can find a glass screen protector, because this one, I'm typically good with my phones. I'll slap a glass screen protector on there and it'll be good to go. And you may see a scratch every now and then, but this one scratches up fairly easily. So, and I typically don't put it on, lay it on anything face down or whatever. I do lay it on my desk when I'm recording just to show like the camera or something like that. But typically I don't lay it face down. So the fact that the screen has scratched up so easily is just, I mean, the screen protector has scratched up so easily to me is odd. But I won't complain about it too much because it does come pre-installed. So, I mean, it's a win. Now, as far as the inner display goes, that one also has a screen protector on it, and I haven't noticed any scratches on it or micro scratches that people have pointed out on other foldables. But I mean, just like any screen, it does fingerprint easily and stuff like that, so no worries. Yeah, so I feel like this, even though I do rock this without a case on it. I know I'm a madman, I get it, but the phone just feels so good in hand without the case on it. Even the little back plate that comes with the phone, I I mean it's okay. I mean I put it on there sometimes just to put it on there, but I really prefer to have this phone with no case on it. And as insane as it sounds, the phone just feels so thin in hand with no case on it. Even though it's not the thinnest phone, you have the Honor Magic V3, you have the Xiaomi Mix Fold 4, I believe it is. I think even the Pixel is close. The Pixel Fold, the new Pixel 9 Pro Fold, is close. So, I mean, it's not the thinnest phone, but they did some type of magic with this device where they curved the edges ever so slightly to make it feel thinner in hand. It's crazy, but it does help, and you can tell. But this phone feels crazy thin, then you open it and it feels even thinner. This thing feels insane while it's open. Look at that. That is crazy. That is crazy work. So, yeah, the camera module sticks out, of course. That's how all the foldables are. But yeah, I mean, really impressed with the phone overall. So we've talked about the hardware a little bit. I will say that this thing. Let's go into the about section and just talk about the processor and stuff like that real quick. So on this one, I have the global version of the Vivo X Fold 3 Pro, and it has FuntouchOS 15. I have updated it a few times since I've gotten it, and Give me a second. We'll talk about that. So it has 16 gigs of RAM, and you can expand it using the actual phone storage to 32 gigs. I have that turned out because I'm not heavy on my phone at all. I have social media open. I may game on it a little bit, and I talk about gaming on here as well in a little bit. And it has the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 on in here, and I got some positive things to say about that, especially since I have the X200 Pro here, and it has the MediaTek 9400 on it. Yeah, I think that's 9400. Let me look real quick so I don't misquote. But yeah, I have some positive things to say about the Snapdragon. Some things that I've noticed, especially since I've started gaming on the phone a little bit more. I could say, yeah, Dimensity 9400 on the X200. So yeah, I've especially comparing that to the newer chipset on there. I got some positive things to say about Snapdragon. It's really held its own. So FunTouch OS 15. Um, I won't talk bad about it because it's not a bad OS from my experience. I know people bash shit and talk crazy about it and things like that, but my experience has been pleasant with FunTouch OS. And while I'll say that it is, I won't sugarcoat it. It is boring. It's boring, but it does work. Unlike the X200 that have Origin OS on it, um, I didn't have to clean up I mean, of course you have to clean up bloatware, but nowhere near as bad as the Origin OS operating system. And all the Google services, I'll just say out of the box, this phone just works. You don't have to go through all the setup process, enabling Google services, installing the Play Store. Oh yeah, removing the bloatware again. I'm gonna say it again because there's so much bloatware on Origin OS. And then making sure you're getting all of your notifications. There are tricks and tips. There's a bunch of videos out there about it. You just don't have to do that on here. So out of the box, everything works. Your Pixel Watch, your Samsung Watch, your Pixel Buds, your Galaxy Buds, anything that relies on Wear OS to connect to your phone, it will work on here. Android Auto, things like that, they all just work out of the box. So with that being said, I will say that FunTouch OS is limited. When it comes to customizations and things like that, it is very limited. Let's see. Maybe I can show you guys. Let's see. So if I go to home screen, lock screen, and wallpaper, I do like how they have it laid out in FunTouch OS 15. But you know what? Let's jump right into color and style. Right off the bat, you'll see that it's just limited. And I will say this: I feel like it doesn't pull the colors from your wallpaper as well as say Pixel or even Origin OS. But I'll touch on that in a second. But yeah, it does. It allows you to apply colors to your icons. Although I would prefer the reverse layout of the icons, and what I mean by that is, I prefer the icon, the little image itself, like the M in Gmail. I prefer that to be light, and the rest of the icon to be dark. Especially since my phone is in dark mode, I prefer it to be that way. But there's just a little. There's just my thing. No, nothing against FunTouch OS. It's just a preference, a choice that they made, and a preference that I have. So going back, let's say always on display, you have your options in here, and you have quite a few that come pre-installed on the device. Now I will say that I don't believe that you can install more because I don't see any options in here to install more. So that is a thing, but you have a nice layout of them. One of my favorite things that did recently come to the phone was always on display notifications, whereas before you could only assign four. Now it just opens you up to what does it say now? Up to 20 apps are supported at a time. So I don't even have 20 apps that I want notifications from. So I mean that's plenty for me. So we're good there. But we were talking about customization. So if especially on the lock screen. So when you go to lock screen settings, And then I don't know if it shows up on camera, but there's an edit button in here. Once I click on edit, you can edit these icons, whatever shortcuts you want to have on your lock screen. That's fine. And you have a few in here. But outside of that, you could change the font of your clock to these 8 fonts. You could change the alignment of your clock to these 3, and you could choose the color for your clock and your date. That is going to be it. That is it. I really truly wish that FuntouchOS had more customization options. Now it does have themes, and you can download these themes, but I'll say, and it's just like I said, everything in this video is going to be my opinion about the phone. So don't take it personal, guys. It's just how I feel after using it. And on top of that, I actually love the phone. But to wrap up FuntouchOS, yeah, these are the things you get, and they're fairly simple. I mean, some are really nice, and I'll actually change one and apply one right now just so I can show you something really quickly. So when you apply this theme, as you see, you have these 3 different screens up here. You have the always on display. So a nice touch is some of these themes will have uh, an additional always on display screen or layout. So let's go to always on display. You see how that animation happens? And when we come out, it animates more. And then when you go into the home screen, I don't have the home screen up. Let's do it one more time. Always on display. Nice animation. Come out. Nice. Then go into the home screen. Another animation. So that's a lovely touch that they put on here. But that's almost where the fun stops. As far as animations and customization go, now you can customize different effects on the phone. There are a ton of them, and I believe I have a video on that. I'll tag it. I'll probably pop it up on the screen somewhere in the upper left or right corner. So you can click on that and watch that. So there are a lot of little animations on here as far as fingerprint screen. Just real quick. Fingerprint recognition, face recognition animation, charging animations, USB insertion. Almost nobody's just going to sit here and watch your phone charge. It would be nice to see once you plug it in, just confirm that your phone is charging, but after that, you'll move on. So there is a little bit of additional customization on here, but when the screen you're going to look at most when you're not in apps is, and what you're going to notice more is the folders and your layouts and things like that. You cannot edit these folders much at all. Now, what you can do with these folders is you can shrink them and you can enlarge them. That's it. You can't have any vertical folders with, how you have 3 apps showing in a vertical folder or a horizontal folder with just 3 apps in it. You can't really have that. And what else? Now you can, widgets have started to work a lot better since the recent FuntouchOS updates. But let me show you one example. You see how all of these are rounded? They have the rounded corners and they have this nice aesthetic to them. Let me show you something. Let's go to widgets. So you'll notice at the top on, I'll just say Vivo. I can't speak for all Chinese phones because this is the only Chinese phone I've tested outside of the X200. If you scroll down below the kits, you'll get down to your Google apps down here. So what I'm going to do is go all the way down to the bottom, choose YouTube Music, and I'm going to pop this widget up there, which is my favorite widget to use. I just don't have it because it's really, really squared off. And that's so weird to me that all the other widgets are rounded, but this one is squared off for some reason. And I know this just a minor complaint. It's not a big deal. I do have the record player widget up here that I use, but you can only play and pause on this one and like a song on that one. So a little more limitation. So I have to actually go into it to play a track or move back and forward on that track. So yeah. But other than that, that's really gonna sum up FuntouchOS. Now, I will talk about Google services a little bit more because I wanted to mention something, especially since I've gone back and forth between these two different OSs, Origin OS and FuntouchOS. These are both Vivo operating systems. One Chinese Origin OS, one global FuntouchOS. If I haven't mentioned that already, but the other aspect of it is, and a shortcoming of FuntouchOS is, and I just recently become aware of this because just using bouncing back and forth between the phones. But what I'll say is, with all of the Google services enabled on this phone, I mean, just out of the box enabled, running in the background, and as you install more Google apps, it becomes more apparent. But I will say, let's go to battery. I took this phone off the charger this morning at roughly around 6:30 ish. I have an hour and a half of screen on time, and since full charge has been 3 hours 20 minutes. That's about right, about six ish. And the battery is at 73%. That's not horrible, but for screen on time, let's just do the calculation here real quick, just quick. 27% down, and I'm only an hour and a half in. That's gonna give me another, what, 3 to 4 hours. I mean, well, 2 to 3 hours, 3.5, 4 hours, maybe, of screen on time. That is rough. With all of the Google apps running in the background, you see Android Auto hits it hard. I mean, Android Auto is horrible on Android phones as far as battery goes. Maps is another one because it uses Android Auto and then Maps. And you have photos. So I do use my phones heavy. So don't, I mean, I'm always bouncing from charge. I have a charger around so it doesn't bother me as much. And when I'm out with friends, I'm out with friends. So I'm not really using my phone heavily, but this phone, it takes a heavy hit on the battery because Google services is so heavy hitting. And the only reason I'm saying that is because on Origin OS they have it way more locked down. Remember earlier I mentioned that you have to go in and turn on each app on Origin OS to make sure you get your notifications and things like that, because Origin OS does not play about power consumption. It will close your apps in the background. And I know some people hate that, but it genuinely has not bothered me as much. So, what I'm saying is, long story short, I have grown to really appreciate Origin OS. So, I'm saying that to say that if I had Origin OS on this phone, this would be the perfect foldable for me. I mean, it would get a 10 out of 10 score if it had Origin OS on it. But it doesn't, so the score drop. FuntouchOS hits this hard for me. Like I said, everything works out of the box, and for those that really like that and they want all their current devices to work with the phone, it's gonna work here. But it's boring. FuntouchOS is boring. It does work. It works well, but it's boring. Moving on, I'm going to talk about gaming on this phone, and I've recently become aware of I call it a Genshin Impact like game. I don't know what that category is called, but this game particularly is called Wuthering Waves, and I'm probably Wuthering Waves. Really good game. I've been having fun with it. I haven't made it that far into it, but not dragging it out. What I wanted to say was, in this segment, I want to talk about gaming on this phone and how warm the phone itself gets. The phone does get warm. Now, it did not, which was different between the Dimensity 9400 on the X200 and on this phone. The X200 would get warm while loading the shaders and the patches for the game and stuff like that. Let me turn it down a little bit. So yeah, it would get warm while before you even started gaming, but once it got to that warm temperature, it stayed there. This phone, weirdly enough, I had it charging, and anybody that games on their phones knows that patches and shaders and updates and all that stuff take forever. Absolutely forever. So I just had it sitting on the charger while it was loading everything, getting everything updated. And you just notice that this phone actually did not get warm during that process. I don't know how it's handling those processes or differentiating between those processes, but it didn't get warm. Now it did get warm while I was actually gaming. So it's just doing stuff. So I've already done all this stuff. I've already leveled up because I play Get Your Impact, so I just know how it works. But anyway, it does get warm while you're playing, but I would say I've gained on this one yesterday, today. For each session was about an hour apiece, and I would say it got warm, but not uncomfortably warm. Snapdragons tend to get warmer than Dimensities. I will say, in my experience, I'm no processor expert. There are plenty of people on YouTube for that. What I would say in my experience that the Snapdragon did get warm. I would say slightly warmer, but once it got there, once again, it stayed there. So let's level her up and let's use materials that I don't want to use because I know they're making me use them because they want me to buy more later, probably. But anyway, I've genuinely been enjoying this game, and actually, I've gone into settings. Let me come out of there. Going to, let's see, let me figure it out again. I always get lost in settings. Okay, so I've gone into graphics, and I've turned, you can see I'm at the bottom of the menu because I was in here and I turned everything up. That's camera setting. Goodness gracious, I'm running my mouth. I have resolution on high, and I've turned frame rate up to 40. I probably now if I turn it up to 60, now that might be different. I don't know. I don't know how warm this phone is gonna get, but I had it on 40 because I just felt comfortable there. But I've turned things up to high. I left that on medium because I don't know what LOD bias is. But anyway, moving on. So jumping into the game. I've actually really enjoyed it. I haven't noticed any hiccups, even when I've been doing like my fighting and things like that. I'm gonna skip this because I don't care. I just want to get out here and fight some stuff. But yeah, I've been really enjoying this game and gaming on the phone in general. I've never been a big mobile gamer whatsoever, but recently since I made a phone about a phone, goodness gracious, a video about gaming on phones and stuff like that. I have really grown fond of mobile gaming. So let me grapple up here. I don't know why, but let me grapple up here because I haven't been paying attention to the scenes. So yeah, as you can tell, I have been playing a little bit. I think I do want to buy like one of those controllers that go on the phone or whatever. But this large screen just makes gaming on here really nice. Um, you do notice that in certain cutscenes it gets like slightly jittery, but overall performance when I'm running around, I'm playing and fighting and stuff like that, it's been really nice. Um, I will say that you have this performance menu over here, and you could turn on your different things. You can block calls and things so you don't get bothered while you're playing. Then you can turn on gameplay display enhancements and take screenshots and record the screen and stuff like that. And you have your different apps you can pull up on the screen. I mean, it's been really nice. I have no complaints. And then you have your performance panel right here where you can see what's going on. Battery remaining. Remember, I was just at 73%, instantly down to 69, 4% in the few minutes that I've been talking about this segment. CPU is at 51%. Refresh rate, it says smart switch. Let's do standard. See, and now that I bumped it up to 60 FPS, the phone has gotten warmer. Noticeably more on this side, actually, around the camera module. That's weird. Okay. So I like to do things live just so you guys can see it and see my actual reaction to it. Yeah, this is interesting. Around the camera module, it's actually gotten warmer now that I've cranked it up. And I haven't even been doing anything. I just ran around, skipped through a few scenes and things like that. So I'm gonna skip that. And yeah, so but it's not hot, it's just warm. So I'll keep an eye on it as I continue to play a little bit. But yeah, I just want to talk about gaming on this phone. It's been fun. And then, like I said before, the large screen just makes this crazy. So yeah, there is gaming on here. So let's go ahead and wrap this up. They won't let me find anything. They do talk a lot in this game. I will say that. But I do want to pay. I don't want to skip too many cutscenes because I do like actually know what's going on in the game so far. So anyway, Wrapping this up, the Vivo X Fold 3 Pro. Would I recommend this phone to anybody in 2025 with all the foldables coming out? The price is going to drop on this one. That's number one. Number two, this is a great device. I mean, even with FuntouchOS now, a lot of people are not like me. They don't care about all the customization. They just want their phone to work. They want to be able to get their messages on time. They want good battery life. I mean, I'm griping about the battery on here because I have so much stuff running in the background, but that's partially me, partially FuntouchOS and Google services, the mixture of all of us. But I easily would recommend this foldable to people in 2025, even with all the new foldables coming out. Because as we all know, prices are going up on everything, and this price is going to drop, and they still get a great foldable with a great camera and great software. Now, if it were me, like I said earlier, I would choose Origin OS over FunTouch OS just simply because the me setting up I enjoy setting up the phone from beginning to end, and you have more customization and things like that. And I don't mind taking the time to get rid of all the bloatware and make sure my certain apps are getting more notifications and things like that. Because with this battery on this phone and with how Origin OS works, this phone I get a full day and a half. I mean, even when I'm not heavy using it, I even get a day or 2 days out of it. So yeah, I prefer Origin OS, but with that being said, this is an easy recommendation. This phone is a go. It's a go. Even in 2025, great phone. Look at the outer display. And look at this side over here. I have my Pixel 9 Pro Fold over here somewhere. It's maybe downstairs, but over here you have like this whole section all just for the hinge and bezels and all that stuff. This phone is. I mean, if you didn't know any better, looking on this phone here, I mean, you would think this is a regular phone until I bust it open on you, like bow, and then you got a full phone in here. So this is a great phone. I easily recommend it. Now I will say the haptics are not great on here. I forgot to mention that earlier. The haptics are not great on here. They seem shallow, and that falls over into the speaker setup as well. The speakers sound shallow. Now they do get plenty loud. Um, I'm not gonna blow your ears off with them or whatever, but and then I don't have any music ready to play, but they do get plenty loud. Actually, you know what? I say stuff, but then let's go ahead and Tim the Tatman is playing Marvel Rivals. I'm gonna so yeah, they get loud. They just have a hollow, shallow feeling to them. That's when you listen to them. I mean, I always listen to my phone in my headphones anyway, so it doesn't bother me nearly as much. But if that is a big deal for you, just be aware that they do have a shallow sound to them when you hear them. They're not really bassy at all. They're just real shallow. I really don't know what to say about it. But anyway, I always do this. I always try to wrap my videos up, then I start talking more. But I really appreciate you guys tuning in. And feel free to like and subscribe for more content like this. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Later.